At times, 1,000 an hour have passed this way. This normally sleepy town is simply choked by the number of people who've fled here from Guerre. There isn't the public transport to move them on elsewhere for safety, and the town simply can't cope with their numbers. This is in danger of becoming a humanitarian crisis. International organisations have begun to arrive, but they're not bringing help yet. They're simply looking at what might be needed. They're going to have to be quick.
Il y a 3 semaines, la population est traumatisée.
It's been 3 weeks now, and the people are traumatised, this man told me. There's no food, no way to get money from banks, and no vehicles to make the journey to safety. There's practically nothing, this man says, but he's more scared of the fighting and of stray bullets. Guerre's population is taking refuge behind French lines. The French Foreign Legion aren't officially on a mission to hold back the rebels, but that's effectively what they're doing by being here. They're determined not to make this their fight, but they may yet be dragged in. For now, the French are more visible and closer to the rebels than Ivory Coast's army.
The number of refugees could become a problem. I'm glad to meet the humanitarian organisations here, because this flood of refugees could pose serious difficulties for the international community, and we need to do something about it.
They're leaving the country's second biggest city, where rebels have been in control for more than 3 weeks and where government forces have launched and lost 2 fierce attacks. Conditions in Guerre may be worsening, but where they're arriving, conditions are deteriorating too. Paul Welsh, BBC News, Guerre, Ivory Coast.
Well, earlier I spoke to Paul Welsh in Guerre and I asked him about the latest ceasefire negotiations. They're being chaired by the Foreign Minister of Senegal.
They won't give us any detail of what was discussed, but both sides say that there was something of interest there. The Senegalese Foreign Minister, Sheikh Tiadia Gadio, says that the rebels were very receptive and that they're going to meet again tomorrow to talk it through. The rebels say that they found something interesting in this document. They're discussing it amongst themselves overnight, and they believe that there is something positive to come from the meeting with the Senegalese Foreign Minister.
So are people optimistic, Paul, that these talks could lead to a ceasefire?
I think it's probably too far that's too far ahead at the moment. The problem is that there are 2 sides to a ceasefire, and the government have to come on board too. Now, we were in this sort of position a week ago when the government 3 times said it would sign a ceasefire with the rebels and pulled out at the last minute. The stumbling block for them was that they want the rebels to lay down their arms before there are peace negotiations. The rebels, of course, don't want to do that, saying it would be surrender. So I think even if there's progress on this side of the divide, there's going to have to be progress on the other side too. And the executive secretary of ECOWAS, the regional body, is in the main city Abidjan trying to talk to the government. And if there is a success in this diplomatic pincer movement, then maybe we will have a step forward.
So, Paul, what kind of common ground can be found then between the rebels and government?
Well, it's a very good question. Where I'm standing, I can't see really any. All I can think is that these diplomats have gone home after their talks with both the government and the rebels last week, that they've had some serious thinking amongst themselves, some serious discussions with the presidents of the region, who are all worried what effect this conflict will have on the region, and that they've come up with something of interest and some very clever diplomatic manoeuvring to find some common ground. Now, from what the rebels are saying, it's possible it's been done this side. I've got no idea what's happening on the government side, because the government are saying nothing about their talks with ECOWAS as far as I can see.
Paul Welsh in Guerre there.